Thank you for joining us at Lulu's Fish Market again. My name is Nicole. I'm going to be doing another cooking class. February is kind of Valentine's Day month, so I'm just going to stick to a breakfast in bed theme this time. I'm doing a smoked salmon, eggs Benedict. We're going to do blackened shrimp and grits, and I'm also going to do potato croquettes with a lobster saffron sauce. So thank you for joining in. Today we're going to do the smoked salmon, eggs Benedict, and then we're going to do the blackened shrimp and grits, and then we're going to do the potato croquettes with the lobster saffron sauce. All of which are good for breakfast in bed, which is, obviously what we're doing, but they're good for pretty much any time of the day. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I could pretty much eat eggs for any meal. They're super good. Same with smoked salmon. So we're going to start with that, and I've actually got a portion for all of you guys today, so I hope you brought your appetites. I'm going to toast these English muffins here just in a pan, which obviously you can use your toaster when you're at home. I don't have one. So I'm just going to toast them in the pan, give it a little bit of flavor with some butter, some real butter. We all love real butter. Now, one thing I did do ahead of time because it is very time consuming is the hollandaise. Have you guys made hollandaise before? Hollandaise is a little bit difficult. What you're going to want to do with the hollandaise, it's really only a few ingredients. Hello. How are you? Good. Welcome. Hollandaise is really two essential ingredients. What you're going to want to do is you take egg yolks. You're going to do about 2 ounces of butter per every egg yolk that you want. It depends on how much sauce you want, but for, if you're cooking for 2, if you're cooking for 3, 2 or 3 egg yolks is just fine. So what you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to take your butter and liquefy it. You can use the microwave if you want to. I prefer to use a metal bowl over a pot, like a double boiler. Liquefy your butter, and all of your milk solids are going to rise to the top, that foamy stuff that you see on the top of the butter when you melt it. You're going to want to take a spoon and just ladle all of those milk fats off so that you have clarified butter. And then you take your egg yolks. You do the same thing with a metal bowl over a pot. You want to temper your egg yolks. You're going to stir those in together, just whip them together over low heat until they start to get lightened, they start to get a little bit frothy, they're getting cooked. And then you slowly add your liquefied butter. You don't want it to be hot. Room temperature is fine as long as it's still liquefied. You'll also notice that you've got some stuff in the bottom of the butter. You don't want to include that. So if you have to use a ladle to get the clarified butter out to incorporate into your sauce, you can do that.
Can you just use clarified butter? Because I have that at home.
It's going to work a lot better for you if you actually, melt down the butter. You're going to want to use unsalted butter. You could try it. I've not, but it may work for you. You're just going to want to make sure that it's liquefied, a little bit warm for you. Once you have that all incorporated, you'll get the nice color that you have here on your hollandaise. And then you want to add a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of cayenne pepper, and a little bit of salt to it, just for flavor. It's not a super easy thing to do, so you might have to play with it a little bit to just get the hang of it. It's something that's a little more advanced, but it's well worth it if you practice. So I did that ahead of time for you guys so that you didn't have to wait too long. Just toast these. I did save the poaching the eggs for you guys because I thought you guys might want a little bit of laugh tonight watching me try to poach eggs. That's definitely not an easy task either. When you're at home, I know they've got they've got several different things that you can use to poach eggs. You know, they have microwavable containers that you can use. They've even got things that sit on top of a pot with like little divots in it. You can crack your eggs into it and let them cook from the steam. I know they have lots of different gadgets and stuff nowadays to poach eggs, so you can use any of those. The most important thing about Eggs Benedict is that delicious yolk and that stays, you know, soft. So, get this going. You guys ever used induction burners before? Because they're pretty much the coolest things ever. So while these are toasting and while that's heating up, I'm going to show you guys something cool about lobster tails. Hello. How are you? Good. How are you? Good. So today I'm going to actually put lobster in the saffron sauce, leave it a little bit chunky, which normally with a traditional saffron sauce you strain it, but we want to incorporate lobster today. So I'm going to leave those in there. But before I cut those up to put in the sauce that I'm going to make, just kind of wanted to show you guys something cool. I don't know if you guys like lobster, if you cook lobster often, but hello. Something that's super easy that you can do, and it's great for presentation if you're cooking for guests or if you're trying to impress anyone, really. With a lobster tail, once they're thawed, all you have to do to actually cook it and present it is you take a pair of kitchen scissors and you cut it right up the back, and then you can turn it over. You've got the spines here, which they're pointing in the middle, so be careful. But if you crack each one of them just with your thumbs, and then you take the flesh and separate it from the bottom and pull the flesh up over the top like this, you can actually roast your lobster tail just like this with a little bit of salt and pepper, a little bit of paprika, really anything that you'd like to season it with, a little bit of lemon. And you can put it in the oven like this. You can put it in like a broaster. You can, you know, kind of broil it if you want to. And you can cook it just like this right on the shell. It makes for a great presentation. And it's really easy. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? Now I'm gonna destroy it by just ripping the meat out. You can cook it low and slow if you want to. If you want it to be nice and crispy on top, you can actually just you can just broil it. Lobster is similar to shrimp in the sense that it's not going to take a whole lot of time to cook. You do want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. So if you want to throw it in the oven, you can throw it at 325 for as long as it takes to get that pretty look on the top, and it's going to be pretty much cooked all the way through. Now, these are about 8 ounce right here. If you get anything bigger than that, you're going to want to make sure you cook it in the oven for a little bit longer. If it's meatier, obviously longer, higher heat. Now, too, if you guys are interested, you could definitely save these lobster shells and use them to make a fish stock, which you could use to make a lot of mother sauces, especially when you're cooking with seafood. And also, the bonus of cutting the lobster tail up the back is that that's where the vein is. So when you cut it up the back like that, it exposes it right there to you. So we can just pull it right out after that. All right, slotted spoon. All right, and I also said for the latecomers, however you want to poach eggs, it's totally fine. I'm putting them in the water with the white vinegar. But if you have, I was telling these guys, they have a bunch of different like things nowadays, like the microwavable things, the stuff that. Yeah, I mean you can do it. So I have a rolling boil, so I'm just gonna drop. I'm just gonna drop. And I mean, a lot of it goes like it just did. But exactly. Oh, egg drop soup is the best. Ugh. The best. Where'd you go, little guy? Marissa, honey, will you grab me the plates, please? Thank you, dear. All right. So we're gonna do what are these good things called? English muffins. There you go. English muffins. And we're gonna take some of the salmon. Put that down right on our English muffin.
That same is cold, right?
This is cold, yes. Yep.
You smoked it earlier, or?
Yep, they smoke it here. Yep. Did you do it yesterday? All right, so we're gonna start with this, why don't we?
Can we get you guys anything? Anybody thirsty or? Red, was it? Yep. This might be a little different from what you.
Oh, I don't really have a taste for mine.
I missed what was in the holidays. It's not the same. Like a mayonnaise mustard kind of combination.
No mustard. It's egg yolks and butter. Yeah.
So like a Valentine's Day.
All right. You guys want to come up? I can start passing these out.
Yeah.
You want to walk around with some forks, honey, and some napkins? You're welcome. All right, so we're gonna throw these shrimp in the pan. We're gonna blacken the shrimp to go on top of the grits. And then we're gonna start our lobster saffron sauce in this large pot. So what I'm doing is I am melting some butter and we're gonna use shallots because shallots are awesome. So I assume everybody here is a large fan of cooking, or at least eating. So most everyone knows a shallot is like a cross between an onion and garlic. It's got a lot of flavor.
I don't use them very often.
Oh, you should.
I didn't know. I use garlic or onion, but never.
It's like a cross between. You've got a lot of flavor. It's pretty strong. You don't need a whole lot of it. I'm a huge onion fan, so usually I just use onions, but with the saffron sauce in particular, the shallots are really nice to use.
Oh, you won't. Yeah.
It's gonna take a while. I'm gonna move it right over here. And we're gonna let those roast. Cut up these lobster tails. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with lobster, like I said, it's similar to shrimp in that way. If it's super meaty, it'll last, or it'll cook a little bit longer than shrimp, but it really doesn't take too long to cook. If you're at a rolling boil and you throw in some actual lobster tails, you're probably only going to want them in there for a few minutes.
So they boil them and then they put their red stuff on the top, put them on the oven?
You can do that. If you're going to boil them first, yep, you can set it right there, thanks, son. If you boil them first, you'll probably just want to throw them in the broiler, just to get, yeah. And if you boil, yeah, you can use paprika. You can use cayenne pepper if you want it to be a little bit spicy, salt and pepper. But if you're gonna boil your lobster, you have them in there for just a few minutes. You probably don't even need to throw them in the oven or in the broiler. Just throw some salt and pepper, a little bit of paprika, like I said, cayenne pepper, whatever kind of flavor you want to give it, and just eat it right like that. Because you don't, it is very easy to overcook shellfish.
Trying to make it look like the restaurant.
Yeah. Yep. If you want to kind of present it like that, then I would definitely just put them in the oven. Throw them in the oven, like I said, 325. Throw them in the oven, a few minutes. Turn on the broiler. You'd be good. In the oven or in the broiler? In the broiler, yeah, definitely no more than 5 minutes. Yep, once they're thawed. Yep. Like I'll show you guys after just a few minutes in the saute pan. So what I've done is I've taken a couple of the saffron threads that I got today, and I've soaked them in the heavy cream that I'm going to use to make this sauce. A lot of times with a saffron sauce, if you look up a recipe, you'll see, soak it in your fish stock, soak it in your chicken stock, depending on what kind of sauce or what kind of protein you're making the sauce for. But it's not necessary. I put it maybe about 2 hours ago in this heavy cream right here. Thanks, dear. Now we've got a good roast, and you can see the lobster is starting to turn white. So I don't want it to get too rubbery, so I'm going to throw our heavy cream in so that we can start to reduce the sauce. Yep, butter. Yep. And we've got those roasted shallots. Now the lobster. And then we're going to take our shrimp. I'm using the blackened seafood seasoning that they actually have here. So the blackened seafood seasoning that they have here is what I'm using on the shrimp. I'm going to coat them. I've got butter melted in this pan right here. And we're doing blackened shrimp and grits. So. I'm not certain that this is gonna get hot enough. So I am big on sauces and soups. So I have a process that I always use when I make sauces and soups. And I've always been this way. Not sure why, but I hate using slurry and I hate using roux. I love to use real butter and I love to reduce my heavy cream. So whenever I'm making a soup, whenever I'm making a sauce, I always make sure that I have enough heavy cream and I have enough time to actually let that reduce rather than adding any thickening agent to it. The soup, the sauce, whatever it is that you're making ends up being so much creamier, so much more rich if you take the time, reduce your sauce, and, you know, overusing
How much time do you need?
cornstarch. Depends on how much you're making. I'm used to cooking in bulk, so I need like 2 hours. But we're gonna reduce this sauce right now. This is a quart of heavy cream, and it'll probably take us, once it gets to a simmer, it'll probably take us 15 minutes to get to the point that we want it to be at to serve it over the croquettes. So we've got our shrimp nice and covered in our blackening sauce.
You have this on high heat right now?
Yes, this is at 400. It's not going to stay that way. We want to bring it up to a boil. We'll turn it down just a little bit. It's extremely easy when you're reducing your heavy cream. It's extremely easy to burn the bottom of the pan. When you're making soup, when you're making bulk sauce, it's going to happen. There's not a whole lot you can do to prevent it, but you don't want to scrape the bottom if that does happen, obviously. Once we're nice and hot, we'll turn that down. And we got a boil, so I'm going to turn that down to 300 as long as this continues to boil at 300.
Do you want it at like a fast boil or like a simmer boil or?
Like a simmer. When you're doing the heavy cream or you're using milk or half and half, you want it to simmer. And then that's a good signifier too when you're actually getting to the point where you think you might be at the thickness that you need to be at because the bubbles change consistency. Mm-hmm. So, and then your mouth starts to water.
Right.
Yum. All right. Then we're going to get our water boiling for our grits. So before you guys got here, I made some mashed potatoes because the potato croquettes are essentially like fried mashed potatoes. So I just made those up so that we didn't have to sit here and watch the water boil for the potatoes because boring. Everybody knows how to make mashed potatoes. What I did is I just took some Idaho potatoes and I threw them in the pot, boiled them till they were ready. I used a little bit of extra heavy cream, salt and pepper, and green onions to make this mix right here. All right, so we still got a nice simmer going on our sauce. However, it is not looking quite as colorful as I would like it to, which means I'm going to add a few more of these saffron threads. This is extremely expensive and you don't have to use it, but the flavor is very difficult to match. It's extremely difficult to harvest, which is why it's so expensive.
I went to Turkey and I
Throw a little bit more of this blackening seasoning on here. So we're using panko breadcrumbs. A little hard to find today. So these are seasoned, which is totally fine. So we're gonna make our croquettes, and you can use an ice cream scoop. You can use, whatever you want, spoon, whatever you want. It's mashed potatoes, and we're just gonna throw it in the egg wash. We're gonna put a little bit of panko on it. They're gonna be a little fragile while you're frying them, so you've got to be careful. I'm gonna make little patties. If we had a deep fryer, we can make balls. We can make, you can, if they're stiff enough, you can use a pastry bag, roll them out and cut them that way if you want to. But I wanna make one for everybody, so I'm gonna make them a little big for you guys. So not everybody likes savory grits. Savory grits are my favorite grits. Just grits instead of doing like sugar and cream and whatever in them. Yeah. So a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we're going for the gorgonzola.
I would do that. 'Cause I don't know anything about them, but
We're gonna put too much because we don't want it to taste like blue cheese grits. We just want to zip. So I'm just making sure all this gorgonzola is incorporated here, so we get a nice creamy flavor throughout the batch. All right. I think I need to plate one more. This is the shrimp and grits. Yep. And then these are, frying mashed potatoes is not the easiest thing to do. So these are a little delicate when you're flipping them.
Oh yeah, that's the
Yep, your mashed potatoes are cooked. It's not like anything's gonna go wrong if they're not 165 degrees in the middle. And here's the lobster saffron.
So we probably will. Oh, okay. So we probably will sell it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
It was my first house I ever bought. Yeah. Well, but I grew up in that house. In here.
Is that what's traumatizing?
So what do you guys think? You think you can handle eating that for breakfast?
Yes.
Thank you for hanging out with us today for breakfast in bed at Lulu's Fish Market. If you check out our social media account, you'll see that our next class is coming up sometime in March. So make sure to check those and come on in and join us. Have some wine.